On today's show, Tesla publishes its first quarter financials and yet again shows it has had an overwhelmingly positive start to the year. Volkswagen's Volkswagen April Fool's joke gets it in trouble with the SEC, and Citroen's diminutive Ami quadricycle is coming to the US. But there is a catch. These stories and more coming next. This is Ecotricity's Ecotech Roundup show from New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to electric vehicles in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. We're starting today's show with Tesla's first quarter financials, which are released after the close of US stock market on Monday, which is Tuesday, Kiwi time. In addition to breaking new records for vehicle production and delivery, Tesla's financials show a record-breaking quarter for total profits, with just over $1 billion or 93 cents per share profit using the non-GAAP method of accounting, and $438 million 39 cents per share profit using the GAAP method. Unlike previous quarterlies, there wasn't really any huge unexpected news announced this time, but Elon Musk did state that Tesla's new 4680 cell production line was still between 12 and 18 months away from volume cell production. I suspect it was this that caused Tesla's share price to drop the next day, in a buy on the rumour, sell on the news kind of way. It started as a court-mandated penance for Volkswagen's participation in Dieselgate, but now Electrify America is probably one of the US's most used non-Tesla charging networks and has just celebrated turning on its 600th site, just under 3 years after its first site went online. By the end of this year, it pledges to have 800 sites in operation, with 3,500 rapid charging stations either open or in development. With its network now supporting plug and charge and reliability now orders of magnitude better than it was in its early days, it's really become the go-to network for long-distance trips. But I do wish EA would solve the one stall per location policy for Todaymo cars. Ford has continued its push towards producing more electric vehicles this week by announcing it's in the process of establishing a new global battery centre of excellence where all of its battery research and development will be based. Called the Ford Ion Park and located in southeast Michigan, the facility will become home to a $185 million collaborative learning lab. It will be used to develop and manufacture lithium-ion and solid-state battery cells and modules. It will test new manufacturing processes for new cell designs and develop closed-loop battery recycling programs to ensure Ford can use as much of its electric and hybrid electric car battery packs as possible. Like other car companies before it, this also hints that Ford is readying itself to get into battery manufacturing rather than just relying on third-party cell providers. You may have noticed at the tail end of March that Volkswagen announced it would be rebranding itself to Volkswagen in honour of its transition away from fossil fuels to electric vehicles. At the time, given the timing, we all assumed it was an April Fool's joke, so when Volkswagen confirmed it wasn't changing its name a few days later, we weren't surprised. But just as Tesla CEO Elon Musk got into trouble in the past with the US SEC for tweeting things about Tesla that had a knock-on effect on the company's share price, Volkswagen is now also in trouble with the SEC. According to the government agency, it's now investigating Volkswagen for its non-serious announcement. It's great to have a sense of humour, but honestly, Volkswagen's executive team really should have known better. Chervolet revealed its proposed solution to the ongoing battery problem with its 2017 through select 2019 Chevrolet Bolt EVs. Those who've been following the story will know that last year a series of fires involving Chevrolet Bolt EVs caused GM to issue a recall that temporarily restricted maximum state of charge in all affected vehicles. Unlike Hyundai, which had a similar issue that resulted in ultimately confirming it would replace all affected battery packs, GM maintained its solution wouldn't involve complete battery pack replacement. Now, however, its solution may. It wants to test battery packs of all Bolt EVs using new software developed for the issue and replace some modules in customers' cars as required under warranty. We made a full video on it during this week. You can see it here, so check it out if you haven't. Tesla has, quite famously, never had an advertising budget, although it does produce YouTube videos from time to time that I'd argue are essentially info adverts. For the last year or so, it's had no PR department either, gutting its media team and making it difficult for people in the press to talk to or even get B-roll from Tesla. Musk took to Twitter this week to state that he felt it was more helpful to follow individual journalists rather than publications, and when several people asked him to rehire a PR team, he said, quote, "Other companies spend money on advertising and manipulating public opinion. Tesla focuses on the product. I trust the people." End quote. It's all well and good, but if you can't get a straight answer from a company, it really makes it difficult for us to cover it, and you're left with the same B-roll you've had for years and years. Following Honda's announcement that it would switch to only selling electric-powered vehicles in North America from 2040 onwards, the news broke this week that General Motors would be working alongside Honda to develop 2 all-electric models. Both based on General Motors' Ultium battery technology, the 2 vehicles, one for Honda and one for Acura, will both be SUVs and are likely going to be built alongside similar GM-badged vehicles. But if you think this partnership is new, then you might be surprised to learn it isn't. General Motors and Honda have collaborated on vehicle technology for a number of years and have worked together on both battery and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles in the past. And of course, in producing these vehicles for Honda and Acura, GM's economies of scale should pay it extra dividends. New figures from the first quarter of the year has shown an impressive growth in Europe's plug-in vehicle market. In March alone, electric and plug-in hybrid vehicle registrations grew by a massive 169% year over year, recording the second highest monthly registration for the segment ever. The biggest growth was in plug-in hybrid sales, up 264% year on year, while battery electric vehicles grew by 100% year on year. In March, plug-in vehicles held 16% of the market share, so while this year we're looking at a 15% total market share, it's still really impressive. The lead away from fossil fuels is led by Tesla, whose Model 3 has now sold just over 24,000 cars in Europe this year alone. Total plug-in sales for this year in Europe now amount to 457,000 cars. Nice. For some time now, those of us in the electric car world have wondered how General Motors was planning to approach the subject of electric car charging. To date, the company has chosen quite a hands-off approach, which, frankly, hasn't worked all that well. But that might be changing with the announcement of Ultium Charge 360 this week. It's designed as a charging service that allows GM customers to seamlessly charge their vehicles on road trips by making all payment information in-house. Rather than ask customers to have individual memberships for each charging provider they visit, GM hopes its customers will use the app for one-stop, seamless transactions with EVgo, Blink, Greenlots, Flow, ChargePoint and SEMA Connect all signed on. The one missing? Electrify America, which, to be frank, as I've already said, is now the biggest charging network for non-Teslas in the US. Let's hope it joins forces with GM Ultium Charge 360 soon. Thanks to a little something called quadricycles, Europe frankly has the best little electric vehicles. They're smaller and less powerful than a full-size electric car, and they're vehicles like the Renault Twizy and Citroen Ami that you can see zipping around surface streets in many European cities. And while they can't be driven on some roads, they offer cheap, cheerful and fun zero-emission motoring. In the United States, such vehicles are a lot tougher to own and operate thanks to more restrictive laws surrounding neighbourhood electric vehicles, which are frankly a whole lot more stringent than the quadricycle laws in terms of what you can and can't drive on the road. But if you're a US-based fan of these tiny vehicles, you'll be pleased to know that Citroen's Ami is coming to Washington, D.C., courtesy of the free-to-move subscription service operated by Stellantis. We don't have any firm details, but I can say that a sneak peek photo has been posted by the company showing the Citroen Ami in front of the stars and stripes. Watch this space. And finally, for most of us, buying a new car involves finding a car that fits our needs and our budget, putting it through a little test drive, agreeing on a price, paying for it, and then taking our car home. But for some people, buying just any old car isn't enough. They need to spend serious money on either a custom car or a one-off or a limited edition, just to prove how much money, and often how little taste, they really have. which is where Caviar comes in. For those who don't know, Caviar takes everyday things and gold plates them, and it's just announced a limited run of 24-karat gold Tesla Model S Plaids. Yes, it takes Tesla's most expensive Model S and makes it even more expensive with 24-karat gold wheels, gold trim, and a BMW-esque fake grille, also gold. I wish I had something positive to say, but yeah, I honestly don't. And on that note, we are done for the day. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode, and if you haven't already switched, please consider switching to New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company. It is super easy to make the switch, and when you do, you'll be helping New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean, green, renewable power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back soon with more great videos for you all to enjoy, but until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you next time.